Hey guys, welcome back to the happiest hour on earth. Tonight we are going to be talking about a little bit more about ourselves. We finally hit 1,000 followers on Instagram pretty recently, which was exciting. So with the new faces around, we just thought it might be a good time to dig a little deeper into who we are. So we're going to be talking about some of our favorite rides, favorite lands, all the favorites we have, and just kind of our love of Disney and every little detail there could be. So hope you enjoy.
All right, so since we decided to kind of take it back to the beginning of just who we are, you know, kind of just a little bit more about this podcast and everything, tonight we wanted to make our favorite drinks that we have recreated for the podcast. We didn't do our favorite snack, and we'll talk about what our favorite things we've made in the past. We just for some reason thought a pretzel sounded good, so we made these things.
And it is my favorite from the park. So
favorite from the parks, yeah.
Technically, it's a favorite, but just not of something that we recreated.
Yeah, and I think these were our first snacks we ever created on the show. We got this recipe somewhere, and it was like, Mickey Disney pretzels, and so we decided to make them. Tried to see if we could recreate it tonight, and
didn't go great, but you know, it's whatever.
They're not. The ears are.
Yeah, they didn't like bake together for some reason. It was a struggle tonight.
A lot of times we've like from where we came from at the beginning of our podcast to now, like we've just kept getting. I don't know. We've made some really intricate things. Like we made the cheeseburger spring rolls, which were crazy good. Mm-hmm. Those are so good. We made the mac and cheese cones from Cars Land. Like we've done so much.
So you wouldn't think that like the pretzel would be something that we struggled with 2 times in a row, but here we are. Yeah.
But the drinks
look like they turned out pretty well. So.
You know what? One of his ears is
they're both. Yeah. Nothing stayed together.
Yeah.
I tried. It just didn't happen. Sorry.
Pretzels are weird. I think that's so much harder than something more intricate. Yeah. Like I said, like the spring rolls or the mac and cheese cones or the beignets or the gray stuff. We made some amazing stuff in the past, and like there's some things I definitely want to revisit.
With the pretzel.
This was kind of like an afterthought because we're like, some of those other things are so difficult. Like they need so many ingredients. These were like, they don't need that many ingredients, but for some reason it's hard to do a basic pretzel.
Hard. Not to mention, like you make one and you see like what size it is, and then realize that the leftover space on a baking sheet is just not enough to make 2 the same size. So mine's all like weirdly shaped, not even like circular. So whatever.
You know, should we try this though? I am kind of hungry. I'm gonna try one of his ears. His ears are actually pretty soft though, so that's always good. And then we forgot cheese, so we didn't mustard.
Buy the cheese dip, but you know, mustard is technically like another dip that they offer in Disneyland, so this is kind of gonna work.
Actually, they taste better than the first time.
You think so?
I think so. That's pretty good.
They're very crunchy.
So after we tried those pretzels, one thing that you should know about our show is like sometimes we try to be very courteous in how we eat our snacks, and we think we are, and then we watch it back and we're like, oh my gosh, like this is not.
Wow, that was a crunchy snack.
Crunchy snack. And then one time we decided to make spaghetti, which was a really fun episode. We talked about like our favorite Disney movies through the eras. Really, really cool. But we're like, what food? Oh, Lady and the Tramp spaghetti. And it was like, why did we choose to make this food
like
for our episode?
Slurp up the noodles and like eat a huge meatball. Like,
yeah,
not the smartest, but
there's some. Yeah, like one time we just did cheese and crackers because we were just focusing on the drink, and we're like, why? You could hear it.
Hear every single crunch.
All these things that we're learning as we're going, but I edit most of it out. But yeah, sometimes.
Sorry if you've ever heard us chewing loudly. We don't actually chew loud. It's just right by the microphone.
Right by the microphone. But it is so fun making Disney snacks and drinks every week. Which actually, should we just even, now that we're talking, well, we should try our drinks first.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about our favorites from it. But so one of my favorite recreations, I mean, this was my favorite simple recreation. I think we've done some crazier drinks. But this is actually one of my favorites in the park. This is from Trader Sam's, which is our favorite bar at Disney. This is the Krakatoa Punch. You really can't get better than like the excitement that happens once you order this. They go crazy. It's super, super fun.
It's just such a good cocktail.
Mm-hmm. And it
How'd it
tastes,
turn out?
oh my
Good?
gosh, it's
Good
so
one?
good. I love
Nicely
it.
done.
I love it. Yeah.
Happens to be pretty much my favorite cocktail in the park from Trader Sam. I could have said that that was my favorite recreation too, because technically I haven't actually had this one in the park yet. This is the Open Ocean with a Splash from Lamplight Lounge. We haven't even been to Lamplight Lounge yet, but we do have reservations to go on our next trip, which is in a few weeks.
I'm so ready.
So I am going to order it while we're there and see how ours holds up. But technically, I don't know if I can say that it's my favorite recreation because I haven't had it. But I'm saying it is anyways, so I'm going to try it. He made it tonight.
The cool thing about this one, did it turn out good?
Mm-hmm.
It's good? Okay.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite parts about making that reel was that obviously it's Finding Nemo themed, and Thomas Newman makes such beautiful music for the Finding Nemo movies. And so like kind of creating the reel and trying to like go with the music was so fun. And like when I like blended it and timed it to like that, it was pretty perfect. Thomas. Yeah, it was so amazing. And so I was like, that was super fun to make. Oceany. Very oceany. Yeah.
That's the word. I don't think so.
Very open oceany. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah. Actually, should we just go into that now since we're talking about it? Like, what was your favorite snack creation that we made and drink?
Okay. We've made a lot of stuff. And there have been some really good ones and some like not as great ones, probably. Mm-hmm. Pretzel being one of the less great ones. Right. But whatever. I think my favorite snack probably had to be the cheeseburger spring roll, which is a Disney World snack from Adventureland. Huge fan of the one in Disney World, and I think we did a pretty good job recreating it.
It was really one of the tastiest things.
Like I really want to make it again, actually, and just like bring it to some kind of event just to be like, look what I can make. Yeah. It's so good.
I think for food, I'm going to have to say that as well. In terms of tastiness, I mean, that was so good. Like it couldn't be beat. I think it was also really fun to make the mac and cheese, the cones from the Cozy Cones. Also
that was really fun.
The gray stuff, the beignets. What else have we made? We've made so many things.
I'm just gonna list off every food thing we've made, I guess.
I'm just trying to like remember what we've made. Oh yeah, the crepes were really, really good from Disneyland Paris. Yeah,
we made corn dogs. Those didn't turn out very good.
Those did not. That was our first reel, I think, and it was not good.
That was a flop.
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
was rough. How about drink for you?
Okay, drink. Yeah, I think I would have to say probably the Open Ocean was a favorite. The drinks I would say that we've made have turned out a lot better than the snacks. Overall, like we've had a lot more success with them like tasting really good. But yeah, I think I would have to probably say the Open Ocean here. Yeah.
Nice. I would probably have to say taste wise, I mean the Magical Star came out really good. There's just so many. Wait, pop open our Instagram real quick. I need to go through this. I think one of the most fun ones to actually make a reel for was the Tokyo Sunset from Epcot because it has peach schnapps in it. So I was like, oh, Peaches by Justin Bieber. And that was really fun to kind of like have a non-Disney song. Oh my gosh, one of our favorite snacks. I just saw it. The Dole Whip. Oh my gosh, that was such a fun. That was such a fun snack, but also we made it into an alcoholic drink. So I really enjoyed making that.
Yeah, it ended up being like a snack and a drink in one. Yeah.
Oh, the blue milk was really good too.
I was just gonna say the
avocado
blue milk,
margarita.
Avocado marg, from Epcot, Mexico Pavilion was legit.
So legit.
Pretty spot on. But yeah, like you said, the blue milk, which wasn't a recreation at all, but it was like our own creation.
Yeah.
I thought turned out really tasty and like so creative. I thought that was a good one.
That was really fun. I was fun for that.
So, okay, so we've got snack and drink covered that we've recreated at least. Let's move on. What other questions were we going to talk about?
Should we just start from the beginning? Kind of like.
Yeah, I guess we kind of just
A
like
little bit
jumped
about
ahead to
ourselves.
snacks and drinks because we were already doing that in the beginning. But to begin this episode officially, we were just going to kind of talk about like where our love for Disney came from, like how we bonded over it and how it led us to here starting a podcast. So
Yeah.
for me, at least, I guess I'll just start with my story. I've brushed over this before in the past, probably in like one of our first episodes, but I didn't really grow up going to the parks a lot. I think I went when I was a little kid once or twice. It wasn't like something my family did every year or anything. And when I was little, it didn't mean a lot to me, even though I loved the movies and stuff. Like I always loved watching Disney movies. I didn't really connect with the park a whole lot at that time. So I didn't go again till I was like a teenager. And then I went with my best friend and her family for the first time since I was a kid and just completely fell in love with the park. And everything about it, that whole trip was just so magical for me. And it just totally like brought me back to childhood. And I can't even explain it, but it was like truly like life-changing. I know that sounds probably lame, but it was just the best. And I went again with them like a year later, and it was just so special to have those memories. So that's when I was like probably 14 to 15. And then I met Chris that year. We were just little younglings.
Gosh.
I was 15.
Wait, what
when we
year was
met.
that then? 29.
No.
We met. 2009.
2009 we met.
29.
Yeah.
What the heck? Okay.
We met in 2009. We started dating in 2010. But so yeah, when we met in 2009, we met over Facebook. For anyone curious,
that was before like Bumble, Tinder.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah.
it was like we met over social media, and technically we had seen each other before that. We technically kind of sort of met at a camp in which my cousin was a counselor at this camp and Chris was a counselor at that camp, but I went up there like at the last day of camp to go visit my cousin because that was the day that like visitors could come and hang out or whatever. And so I went up there and I saw this kid and I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. And he didn't give me the time of day. So we did not exchange anything other than a hello.
I was very shy and I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that right when I took a bite of pretzel.
He has no way to back himself up now.
No. I was very shy. I was hanging out with my friends and I felt like I couldn't step up to the plate.
And he says he felt like I was older because my cousin was older, so he thought I was like one of their friends. So
yeah, I couldn't hold my own against an older lady.
But I'm not older. I'm younger than him by 5 months. So
Still.
he didn't know. But after that, at some point we ended up meeting over Facebook, and he didn't know that I was that person, but I knew that he was that person. So
oblivious teenage boy.
Yeah. So we started talking, and then he realized that I had been the girl at camp that day. So
Yeah.
we started talking, blah, blah, blah. You go ahead and your story now and let the people know what's up with you and Disney.
Oh, me and Disney.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I grew up, we used to go as a family like once a year at least. Like that was just that was just what we did, you know, as a family. Absolutely loved it. And then when I met Emily, like, I mean, I grew up watching all the Disney movies and all that stuff, but I think I stopped watching the movies at a certain point, but still loved the parks. And the cool thing about meeting you was that you were just getting back into the parks, but you were also like all about the movies too. And I remember like when we first started dating, you're like, oh, we should like have a movie night. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like what movie? And I was not thinking a Disney movie. And what did we watch? Did we watch Cinderella. And I was like, oh, this is later. So, yeah. And I was like, this is so great. Like, I love watching Disney movies. And like, so I think as a teenager, like when we met, like at 15, 16, I was like, oh, I love going to the parks, but I'm like not a kid, so I don't watch the movies anymore.
And I was like, I'm a kid apparently, so I'll watch the movies.
And then when we met, it was like I had been like this foundational like park goer you had recently found the parks, but you always just like kept watching the movies.
I
And so
didn't
like
really
you
keep watching the
reignited
movies.
the movies for me.
The
Or did we
movies just
both
helped
kinda
me
just, like-
reconnect with the park when I wasn't at the park. So after I fell in love with going to the park was when I started like rewatching all the movies. And
Which
I
is
loved
great
them.
because then like that would just like started becoming our thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
of just like reliving our childhood, watching those movies again, but doing them together. And then I was like, wait, why haven't I been watching these? You know? And then so we, you know, after we officially started dating before our first trip. Yeah. Okay. So in February we started dating. And then what was it, September? I feel like it was-
No.
Oh, was it March?
We started dating Valentine's Day of 2010. So February 14th, 2010. We went on our first trip in April.
Yeah. Okay.
With
And it
his
was
parents. We weren't like, you know, rebels to like go down at 16 years old together to the park. Because it's like 6 hours away. So obviously we would have to stay over there. So we went with his parents and went for a couple days. And it was fun.
Like the best part about this trip was that I wanted to look my best for the first Disneyland trip with Emily. So I got a haircut like maybe a week before, and this lady just botched that cut. It was like this weird. I had this like swoopy hair.
cut.
Yeah, I had like swoopy hair, but I was like, I just want it like trimmed up a little bit. She literally gave me like almost like a weird bowl cut, and I was like, no. I was like one of those like teenage boys like I hid in my like room, and I was like, oh, I hate my life. And I was like, why did I have a bowl cut?
Trip.
And then in all the photos, I'm like smiling, and inwardly, I'm like, why do I look like the Beatles right now? Like I was like, this sucks.
I feel like we're gonna need to let the people see one of these pictures.
Yeah,
they're pretty
we'll post them on a story. I don't want anyone to
babies.
see them post 24 hours.
Yeah, okay, maybe we'll post one on the story.
Oh, it was bad. It was
following us on Instagram.
It was not pretty.
Yeah.
It was
I mean it was it was cute for
It was bad.
16
You're
years
like,
old.
dang, your first picture's out the view with his bowl cut. Freaking no, it was bad. But hey, it was a fun trip. It was
and
so
you know
nice.
what? You've aged like fine wine. So all I can say is
You say that as I'm like stuffing my face with a pretzel. I'm like, oh, thank you.
obviously. I mean, you're like almost 30 years old now, so you've aged well.
Thank you. You've aged like even finer wine.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
That was a good compliment. I just bounced off
good.
yours.
That's good.
That was good.
So, anyways, moving on from that time frame in our lives, we're just gonna kind of like skip forward because this just goes on for another like 5 or 6 years of just us dating and going to the parks at least once a year, sometimes twice. Yeah. Did a couple like fun spontaneous trips.
That's so fun.
Had some like planned far in advance, but it was always a staple. We always went to the parks. Fast forward to 2015.
Yes.
It was like 5.5 years later.
On
September 11th. Weird date that
Yeah,
happened. It was not
out.
the plan, but the date that this was planned.
Which we're actually coming up on that soon.
Yeah, like 2 weeks or so.
Weird
Less
timing.
than 2 weeks.
Weird time. But.
Yeah, he didn't plan it like that, but that was the day he proposed to me.
Yes.
At the park in front of the castle. And going back to Cinderella, which was like the first movie that we watched together, Disney-wise, he pulled a little Cinderella style proposal on me in which we were there with his family and my brother. I kind of sort of had an inkling that it was going to happen because I happened to catch a glimpse of like a text from my dad to him on his phone one day. On the drive down there, I just like saw my dad's name on his phone and I was like,
let me know when it happens. It's like,
yeah, I don't know if I saw what it said, but I just like saw his name and I was like, that's suspicious. Like, you guys don't just text for no reason.
We do just text for no reason.
Now you do. You were a teenager. You guys did not talk all the time.
I love texting your dad.
No, you weren't a teenager. What am I saying? You were like 20 something.
Oh my God.
Anyways.
Time moves weird.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But anyways, I had an inkling. So the whole day, I could tell that he was being weird.
I was super
And he
weird.
was super anxious. And like the whole family was like kind of
We were super off.
I was like, something's going on. And my brother was there, which he wouldn't usually like make an effort to like go on a trip with us if something wasn't happening. So I was like, okay, something's got to be happening. But, half the day went by and then Chris disappeared.
Well, the best part about this was that like I was waiting for someone to help me with this proposal, like a friend.
Yeah.
And we actually, okay, confession time. We don't care for Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters because we like
sure
Midway Mania a lot more. I like Astro Blasters, but like we don't go in it because she doesn't really care for it. She like, you're way better at Midway
suck
Mania.
at it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gotten a decent score in Buzz. It's like so much harder to me. I cannot, like, I don't find it enjoyable. So,
but as we were waiting, I was like running out of options, waiting for my friend to help me.
Who was stuck in traffic.
He was stuck in LA
to
traffic.
The park.
Yeah. And so I was like, let's go on Buzz Lightyear Astro. That's gonna be so much fun. And I was like,
okay, sure.
I was kind of like forcing you, and I was like, we definitely
make
need to
priority
go
out of.
Yeah.
So we went on it. And then like a little bit later, we were
doing everything
in front of the castle. There was like a parade going, and we were just hanging out by the castle, and it seemed like everyone was just kind of wanting to chill there for like a long time. And I was like, this is weird. And then Chris disappeared to go
to the bathroom.
No.
Quote unquote. Oh, the lockers.
He went to the lockers to go like put something away or something. So he disappeared. And then a few seconds later, this guy is like coming from the inside of the castle and like trying a slipper on all these random girls, being like, oh, I'm looking for the princess. The shoe will fit her. Yeah, the prince sent me to find his princess or whatever. And I was watching and I knew at this point, I was like, this is definitely happening now. I knew it. As soon as I saw him, I was like, this is interesting. But I didn't know who the guy was. I didn't know him. It was a friend of Chris's.
Yeah.
And I thought it really was like a cast member that Chris had gotten.
The part.
Yeah, he totally looked like a Disneyland cast member. So I totally just thought you like hired someone to do this. But we actually have a link to this video. I feel like you need to link it somewhere. Yeah, he'll link it. It's a pretty fun video. But anyway, so he finally made his way to me and was like, oh, I think this will fit you or whatever. And I took off my shoe and put it on. Chris comes out, gets down on one knee and proposes. And it was really sweet.
Right in front of the castle. Super good. So shout out to my friend Blake. That was really awesome.
That was very special.
So cool. I know. I'm so glad it worked out. I'm so glad the shoe fit. I mean, I remember like looking at your shoe, or maybe we were just talking. And I was like, what's your shoe size? Isn't that a funny question to ask? And then you told me, and I was like, okay, that's great. And I'm so glad that it fit, because what if it didn't, and then everything would have been
it actually did fit, and
we still have
it would have been pretty.
It's in the closet somewhere.
Yeah, we have it somewhere. But anyways, so that was very special, and obviously Disneyland means a lot to us to have our proposal spot be there. So that was amazing.
Disney has just always played a part in our lives. Like, we did our first year anniversary. Our honeymoon. We went to Hawaii, obviously, because and I was always like, oh, like Hawaii. It's just everyone goes there for their honeymoon. Hawaii is literally
there's
the
a
best.
reason everyone goes.
It's not
the best place ever.
It's so good. But then we did that. But then we went to Disneyland. Was that about a month later? After? Yeah, a month later as like a
secondary honeymoon.
Honeymoon part two. We need to do it, and then we've been like every year since, except for 2020.
Yeah, right.
And then we also
we did go in 2020.
We did go in 2020
before the shutdown.
We did literally like a month before.
No, maybe not even a month.
Maybe a few weeks, which is crazy.
We did make it though.
Yeah, our 4-year anniversary. No, third anniversary. Second? What was that? 2018. So that was our second
anniversary.
Second anniversary. We went to Disney World. Our 4th anniversary. Or is that third? Yeah, okay. So
obviously
2019.
We're not great with like memory and dates. It all just blurs together. After
2019, we went to
went to Europe for a Europe
but we
trip,
went to Disney Paris.
Yes, we did go to
awesome.
Disney Paris.
We went during like a very busy national holiday that we didn't know about it. So it was very like rushed and busy. It was packed. It was just kind of crazy. So we want to go back and experience it on like a normal day, because we honestly, we actually flew into Paris and went that same day. So we didn't really have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Weird thing about it though, the first ride we went on.
Caught a train.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Got there at like 12:30 or 1, I think.
Super trippy thing though, the first ride we went on in Disneyland Paris, we rode and talked to this other couple from California, like from Orange County, who's like home park is Disneyland. Yeah, it is a small world. That was crazy. We literally got a picture with them. Yeah, we're like, yo, we're both from California. It's so crazy. But so definitely need to go back. But we definitely plan to do some more international Disney parks and more Disney World trips.
Oh heck yeah!
In our lifetime, so
for sure.
Super excited to do that. But
yeah. That's pretty much
it. And then yeah, if you haven't heard, like, I mean, we've talked about this in other episodes, but 2020 hit, right? Like we wanted to do something Disney related since the parks were closed. So in March of this year, we decided to do the podcast. Weird timing because we had a 6-month-old baby, but for some reason we're like, oh, let's just start a podcast.
Gives us something to do, kind of connect on and like create something fun together that we love.
Yeah. And it's been so much fun. And you guys have been so great too. I know it's like not about the followers. Oh, we have 1,000 followers. But the thing is, like,
we've connected with so many
people, and all of you guys have been so encouraging, so supportive. So much fun to just like chat with. And also like we're going to the parks in September. I think we're meeting up with at least 2 people that we've met through the 2 people that we've met through the podcast, but hopefully a lot more. And I'm so excited to meet some people. And that was like one of our main goals was like, let's just connect with this Disney love during this hard time. I mean, everyone was so separated due to social distance, and it was like, man, there's something that connects some people, and we're a part of that through Disney. Let's just connect and chat and talk during this tough time that, you know, COVID's going on, but also that the parks are closed and everything. And it's been so amazing. So we started that and pretty much have put it out weekly, but so glad that we did. Yeah. And you guys have just made us feel so much warmth.
Yeah, the Disney community is really special, and everybody's just supporting each other and like sharing each other's stuff and just like connecting over our love of Disney, and it's just so special. And we've really loved meeting everybody, and hopefully lots more to come. Yeah,
definitely. So with that, should we get into just? I feel like you could definitely know someone by what they love about Disney. So we're going to do a little quick fire Disney favorites right now, just so you guys could get to know us on that kind of level. So let's get started.
All right, let's do it.
First up is going to be, what is your favorite Disney ride? And as I say that, I took this as Disneyland, and there's a lot of good Disney World rides.
Yeah.
Let's just split this up. We weren't even prepared for this, but let's do Disneyland. What's your favorite Disneyland ride?
Okay. Disneyland.
It's hard.
I always go back to my most classic favorite, which is Pirates.
Yes.
I just have to. It's just so legendary. I think it's always going to be my favorite from Disneyland. Nothing can beat it for me, I don't think. Like, theme-wise, just so fun. Like, I don't know. Something about it.
I feel yeah. I mean, everything about that ride just screams Disney, right? Like, that is just, like, exuding with Walt's
influence,
like creativity, and oh my gosh, it's so good.
The jail scene with the dog, like everybody knows that scene from Pirates. It's so classic, and
the fact that it has been there for so long, and how immersive it is. It's like I know some people are like, oh, why do you like Pirates? Like there's this ride over here, that these other rides, and it's like, yes, maybe those other rides have are technically better. Like their animatronics are just crazy. The whole immersion is just so crazy. But the thing is, for a ride that came out in what, like 50s or 60s, the actual date is escaping me for it right now. But for a ride that came out there that time, and to be as immersive and as groundbreaking as Pirates, like, are you even kidding?
I know. I agree.
That is just so crazy. So honestly, that would be my favorite ride. But my favorite ride at Disneyland will always be Indiana Jones. As a kid, that's all I wanted to ride. It was something that, like, when I walked through the queue, even outside, I mean, everyone talks about the inside queue, but the outside queue, and you're waiting to finally get into the temple. Then when you do, and all the show scenes that are not really show scenes, but just all the different types of, I don't know, vibes that you get in the interior queue. It's all this amazing setup for the ride that is also so immersive. And that ride has always been so fun because, like, what is it? Is it a roller coaster? No, not really.
Yeah,
it's fast. It's like a dark ride, but it's definitely more exhilarating than a dark ride. And I think that system was so incredible to use. And ever since I was a kid, I just remember it just has a very special place in my heart. I remember screaming on it and just wanting to go on it over and over and over. And to this day, I always want to be the driver. I always want to, like, reach out and try to touch the skeletons. And if I'm on the right side, I always want to try to touch the snake. Like, I'm always just, that it holds so many memories, especially with my family. And I'm like, this ride will always be my favorite. So definitely Indiana Jones is going to be my favorite.
All right.
Disneyland. Now, Disney World.
Okay, Disney World.
It's
so hard. Yeah, we've talked about this. We've, like, broken down Disneyland and Disney World rides before, and it never gets easier with Disney World, like, choosing a favorite ride, because there's 4 parks and, like, so many rides in them that is so difficult to, like, choose a favorite. But I don't know. I think because it is specific to Disney World, I would probably have to say Flight of Passage.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say that too?
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to say Flight of Passage as well. There's some amazing stuff, and we've done, shows where we talk about our favorite rides from each parks. We just actually did one a few back where we rank our favorite rides from each park, and there's some amazing rides in each, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Magic Kingdom. They're all so great, but I think, since Flight of Passage is unlike anything, yes, it's similar to Soaring, but it's
it's like totally
exhilarating.
Its own thing. It's a mix of so many rides.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still like Soaring.
Yeah,
but instead of peaceful, it's like exhilarating. It's like it's on a whole nother level.
Yeah. There's nothing like it. I mean, I don't know, like,
such a great ride.
Rise of the Resistance is, like, up there with, like, how cool and exhilarating it is, I think.
Yeah.
And with how long the experience is. But I don't know. For me, Flight of Passage is just a notch or two better.
Yeah, and I want to rewrite it.
I do too.
I want to, in the same day, I want to do both. Yeah. I'm going to be like, what is it? But I think I always Flight of Passage.
Flight of Passage. It's so immersive and so realistic. Like, I literally was, like, giggling. I couldn't stop, like, giggling and smiling the entire ride because it just felt so
it's so
different than anything I'd ever ridden before. I love that ride. That's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
All right.
I just want to go back.
I know. Now we need to start planning our trip.
Yeah.
We have some friends and family going to Disney World soon, and I'm just, like, getting the itch like crazy. I really want to go back. It's been a couple years now.
Been way too long.
I'm ready.
Too long, yeah.
But anyways, moving on. Our next question for one another is, Which land is our favorite and why? And this was a question from an Instagram follower named Minnie Mouse Mom.
Minnie Mouse Mom.
I like it. So favorite lands, which actually was an episode we just had recently.
Yeah, I think 2 episodes ago. I think it was right before our Subtle Dust interview, which, by the way, if you haven't watched that, go check it out. Tressa was just the best to talk to. And that's actually one of the people. Oh, we're so excited. That's one of the people that we're going to be actually meeting up with when we do our trip. And so we're super pumped to meet her in person.
We are so
super stoked. So good.
So favorite land, you go first.
Yes. So my favorite land in Disneyland, which is our home park, is going to be New Orleans Square. It was a pretty close tie to Adventureland, but I think New Orleans Square has the 2 best rides, honestly, in the park. I know I said Indiana Jones is my favorite, but when we're talking about like the best rides, you got Pirates and Haunted Mansion there. And everything about that land is so like
realistic,
old, like nostalgic, like Walt's time, but also super magical. There's something magical about New Orleans because of the whole like voodoo and like there's just something like weirdly magical about New Orleans. So mixing like nostalgia and magic in one land, that's why that is gonna be my favorite.
It also houses Club 33,
yes,
and the Dream Suite, which are 2 very like,
oh my gosh,
magical places that we
walk past
have
them,
not
you're
seen
like,
either.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
so great. My sister's been in the Dream Suite, and I'm very jealous.
Yeah.
Let's try to get into Club 33 before her.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite land is going to be Main Street. And I know that all the other lands have rides, so it's like maybe weird to choose Main Street as my favorite, but I just like thought about like, where is my favorite place to be in the park? And for me, at least, like, nothing tops Main Street. It's just the most, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, I just feel so much of Walt there, I think. It's like,
wow, that's,
so much magic in just this street leading down to the, like, you know, park entrance of Disneyland, like where you can choose which land you're going to. And, you know, you've got the castle looming ahead of you, and like there's parades down Main Street. You can watch the fireworks from Main Street, and it's just such a magical place to me that I realized it has to be my favorite. And obviously I love every land for different reasons, and they all could be favorites, I feel like. But, you know, Main Street is just my favorite place to be in the park, I think.
I like what you said about like you could feel Walt there, because when you look at the firehouse, you know, and the lamp that will never turn off, and just like representing his essence.
Exactly.
I know it's just this thing that they do, but honestly, you do feel Walt so much when you walk into Main Street. When you pass through that like beginning entrance area, and you walk under the train tracks, and you start hearing the music.
My heart just like, I feel like I'm home as soon as I enter Main Street. Yeah. You know?
It really
It's like the first place, like we talked about this last time, it's the first place you see when you enter the park and the last place you see when you leave the park. It's just, there's so much magic there. Yeah. That's all I can say.
There is.
It's Main Street. All right. So next question. We have favorite movie, both Disney and Pixar. We have to choose. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so am I good?
If you want.
I'll go Disney first. I'll go Disney. So Disney movie, I think I'm stuck between 2. I love Cinderella. The thing I love about Cinderella, I use that as the proposal, and it was one of our first movies we watched together. But I also, I love all the princess movies, honestly. But the best part about Cinderella is it has like such a funny character in it as well. Like it's not like Sleeping Beauty, yeah, there's funny parts in it. Snow White, there's funny parts in it and things like that. But Cinderella has Lucifer in it, which he like drives so much of that humor, and he's just like ridiculous. Like I just crack up every time I see him. So it's a nice blend of like a lot of humor, a lot of like that Disney princess magic, a lot of the, you know, kind of like down moments, and then that like bringing it back to like this hopefulness. And so I think that's one of my favorite princess movies for sure. I'm also stuck between that and Lion King. But also I take a lot of these movies as like every era is so very different. And we actually have done a podcast breaking down our favorite movies of every Disney era. So if you haven't watched that, definitely go check that out or listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music or podcast. Because that was a really, really fun, a really, really fun one to watch. So what's your favorite Disney movie?
Okay, my favorite Disney movie will always be Peter Pan. I've talked about it in lots of episodes. If you've listened to any of them, you might have heard me mention that. But Peter Pan is always going to be the favorite.
So magical.
Yeah, so magical. Neverland is like the Disneyland of Disney movies, I guess. I don't know. I just love it. It's the music in it, especially, I feel like so many of those songs, I just hear them and instantly just feel so happy. Like every single time they come on, like when I'm listening to Disney music, I just get so happy.
So great.
I love Peter Pan.
Okay, Pixar. You go first.
Pixar. Okay.
Man, Pixar.
I
So
know.
tough too.
There's so many good
And
Pixar
we only have
movies.
like what? I think it's like 25-ish movies.
Yeah.
But it's still so
But
hard.
it's such a hard choice because all of them are so amazing.
They're so good.
But every time I narrow it down, I always go back to Toy Story.
Mhm.
Like all of the Toy Story movies. But if I had to choose one of them, so hard to do. There's 4 and I love all of them. But I think number 3 will always be my favorite.
Yeah.
Watching like the progression of everything lead up to that point when Andy grows up and leaves and has to hand off his toys to Bonnie just will always get me.
Yeah.
I will always bawl my eyes out at the end of that movie. It's so good. And, you know, we rewatched number 4, like a week or 2 ago, I think.
Yeah.
That is also incredible. But number 3 gets me in a way I can't even explain. It's just, I don't know. It just makes you reflect on childhood so much.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, like you said, you know, we watched episode 4. What is this? Star Wars? Oh my gosh. Toy Story 4. And as I was watching that, I was like, man, this might be on the same level as 3. I think why 3 hit so much harder for me, though, like looking back on it, was that we were that age, we were going to college, and just the fact of like letting go of something that was a part of your childhood, but still keeping that magic alive, right? You're giving something to someone who can keep the spirit of childhood alive.
Yep.
And that was a beautiful way that they did that.
And the way that he like played with his toys one last time with Bonnie. Come on.
Yeah. So I'm probably gonna. It's either Toy Story 3 or I think Finding Nemo. I believe. I mean, honestly, Pixar has out of all the movies that they've maybe had like 1 or 2 movies that I choose not really to watch as much as the others, but every other movie is just prime cinema.
Close second for me, very honorable mention, is Coco. Always gonna be a close tie with Toy Story 3 for me.
Coco was
had to bring that one in because that one is very special for lots of reasons.
So good. So next up, we have another question from a listener. This is from Roxel Haman. I think I said that right.
Lehman? It's probably
Re-
Lehman.
oh, Rocks Lehman. Yeah, maybe.
Lemon?
Lemon. Yeah. So from
We're great at spelling.
we're very yeah.
pronunciations.
It's hard when everything's smushed together. It's like I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she says, I would love to take my kids to Disneyland when they are 3 and 5. How many days would you suggest and must do attractions? So we have not been with our 1-year-old yet. We are going to be going in September. But she asked, how many days would you suggest?
We haven't gone with our child, but we have gone with other kids before.
Yes.
We went with my nephew and my niece a few years ago, and then another child that I actually used to nanny. So those were only for like 1 day at a time. And I think it totally varies depending on like what your kid is capable of and what they like to do and how their stamina is. I think it's very important with kids to think about like taking breaks because it's a very stimulating place and can be very exhausting for kids. So I think you need to think about like, when can we take a break in the day and just kind of like destimulate, take like a breather? Because if you're going for multiple days, which generally in the parks, you're going to want more than 1 day. I feel like my thinking when I read the question was for Disneyland / California Adventure, I would say at least 2 days.
At least 2 days, yeah.
Would be good. Because then you can like probably do everything in the parks while still like getting breaks here and there. You don't have to like cram everything into 1 day and try to like rush around and do everything in that short of amount of time. But you can still like take your breaks and do everything in both parks and enjoy it. I feel like Disney World, different story. You need a lot more time in Disney World.
You probably in Disney World need like 10 days. And so for us, when we're going, we are going for 3 days. There was a special for California residents. We were going to do 2, but I'm actually glad we're doing 3 just because, I mean, obviously we can't go on every ride with our 1-year-old. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, there's going to be times where we need breaks. There's going to be times where we need to go back to the hotel. Maybe some times where we need to like go to the pool, do something different than the park. So instead of trying to cram everything in a day or 2, I think err on the side of
giving yourself
a little more time, but not as rushed, give yourself some breathing time to go back to the resort that you're staying at.
Because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. And it can be a very overwhelming place if you don't like kind of have a plan formed. And if you like let it get out of hand, like you kind of want to know like what you're doing, what day, at what point in the day you want to like take a breather and just relax and maybe go back in the park later. Maybe not even, maybe just like go for a good chunk of the day and then go relax for the rest of the night at the hotel. Maybe you just need to do that. That's fine.
I think you gauge it that first day. That's kind of what we're thinking of, like go that first day, gauge how he's doing, and maybe alter some things this, second and third day. And so it's definitely going to be a different type of Disney trip when we go.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun.
We're giving all this advice like we know. We really don't know, but
so check out other people's videos.
Yes, listen to some other people's videos. I've watched some recently to try and like prep myself for our Disney trip with our child. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we're going to try and prepare as well as we can. And I think we are probably going to do a podcast episode based on that after our trip and just kind of talk about what worked, what didn't, and what we would have done differently if we could. Yeah. Which it's going to be a learning experience for sure. I'm excited, a little nervous, but I know it's going to be special. So we talked about, how many days and everything. Yeah. Must do attractions.
So I think, if you're talking about must do attractions for you guys, I think almost everything. What I would suggest is going on any ride that your kids meet the height requirement for.
Yeah,
And the
height.
one nice thing that you could do is on the Disneyland site. I don't know if you're going to Disneyland or Disney World, but you could actually filter by height. So what you could do is filter all the rides by height and just look at them and see, you know, have that list and see what they might be wanting to do or not. And if they don't feel ready for it yet, then, you know, no pressure. You know, maybe they'll feel ready for it by the end of the trip once they've done some other things.
Or maybe
but honestly,
by the
every
next
ride
trip
or by the
after.
next trip. Yeah, you don't have to stress about it.
Yeah. Don't push it if they're not ready for it. There's always a later time when they're older
And
more
there's
ready
many
for
rides.
it.
Yeah, there's many rides. So I don't think we need to go into like all the must-do attractions just because like
There's so many.
I think there's so many. I mean, you got
a lot of classics. Do Pirates, do like Fantasyland rides, it's hard if
the Star Wars ones.
it depends on which, if you're going Disney World or Disneyland.
If you want more specific rides though, since this episode is getting a little bit long, like hit us up. Like literally if you or anyone
DM
else
us, we'll
wants
totally
to like
respond.
have specific ones and like specific ideas, hit us up. We'll DM you guys back
We'll give
whatever you guys
all the
want.
deets.
Yeah. So we can just chat and just hang out and talk about everything. So
Yeah.
all right. So next one we got. I think this is the last one of like the quick fire rounds, which haven't been
Which
really
have
quick.
not been quick fire.
So what's one Disney thing you haven't done but really want to do?
So many things. Oh my gosh. This is one that we kind of added last minute, and I was like, oh my gosh. I did not come up with an answer. So
I could go if you want, but
Disney thing. Okay. I would. Oh, you know what? I know. Probably. I don't know. There's a lot, but probably Aulani.
ooh, that's a good one.
Because that combines Hawaii and Disney, which are my two favorite things in the world. Favorite places to go.
That's a
I'd
good
have to
one.
say Aulani for sure.
All right. So for me, I think I'm gonna have to say, I mean, Aulani would be incredible. Things like that I'm thinking right now, like I would love to do the Star Wars hotel that's at Disney World that will be opening up next year, I think. Next year.
That's some serious money.
No. I'm
droppage.
This is like if money's not even a problem.
Okay.
No, just kidding. This is like if you won Lotto and you're just no.
Trying to
but-
spend as much as possible.
So that would be really great. I would have said a Disney cruise line, but like it wouldn't feel comfortable for a couple of years. Like let's get over this whole
COVID kinda
situation,
ruined
then
cruises for a
I'll
while.
jump on a cruise. But after thinking this through, like things that are actually open right now because cruises aren't open and Star Wars Hotel is not open yet. So I think something I would really like to do, go to Shanghai Disneyland and experience their Pirates of the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that's kind of at my top priority just because it is a revolutionary ride and I definitely want to ride that someday
Yeah.
before I'm gone.
Yeah,
I need
it looks pretty incredible.
I need to ride that. So, all right. So that's pretty much all those quick, slow,
Yeah, not quick
slow
fire
fire rounds we have.
Yeah.
Our
We don't
last
know how to
one-
go fast. We pretty much like expand on everything. So sorry
I'm
that
sorry,
this video is
guys.
so long. If you made it through to here, congrats. We're getting to the end of it now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here we are.
So
an hour later.
Yeah. So we wanted to end it just of like, what's our goal with this podcast? I mean,
Yeah.
what is
What's the
it?
future look like for
what's
us?
the future look like
as the
for us?
happiest hour on earth?
For me, you know, I want this to be the top podcast ever. That's going to be the number one.
You want to beat out
no, just kidding.
Fresh Baked or?
We're going to beat out all of them. No, just kidding. I'm totally
I don't think
kidding,
that's
guys.
gonna happen.
I am not that pompous.
Yeah, I knew that you were kidding.
Yeah.
But I think our goal with the Happiest Hour on Earth is to just continue doing what we're doing, keep meeting more and more Disney people like we already have been doing, connecting as much as we can, and hopefully meeting them in person, having more and more guests on here, like from all different spheres.
Yeah.
And yeah, just going to the parks as much as possible, creating as much content as we can.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
More and more snacks and drinks.
Yeah.
We need to up our game apparently with snacks, but but yeah, there's so much to create still, and I think we're just getting started. So
yeah. So for me, I mean, our whole goal of this podcast when we started was to bring the Disney magic home, right? So I think just expanding on that, right? Like, how can we as a podcast help you feel the Disney magic when you're at home? And one of the ways that we wanted to do that was making snacks and drinks in the park, right? Maybe this expands to like certain musical playlists on Spotify or something that really kind of like gets you into the zone of each theme of the park, or like maybe having more communication with our fans on like how we made certain things and how you could easily make those at home to just have like a Disney movie night and enjoy something that you love from the parks or something like that. So I think the whole goal is to really kind of refine that and just kind of be like, hey, when you're stuck at work or when you're looking forward to the weekend, like how can you provide Disney magic in every aspect of your life? Mm-hmm. But just kind of, like you said, still doing what we're doing, like create some reels that are fun to watch when you're kind of bored at work, or like have something on in the background, go to the parks more, connect with more Disney fans, and just, have a good magical time. And so that's just kind of what's been on my mind. But
yeah,
I think that's
we've made it to the end here. Hopefully you guys got to know us a little bit better. If you have any questions about anything, or like something struck you when you listened to the podcast, message us. We can chat about it, whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed this Get to Know Us podcast.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next week with some more stuff. So we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye, guys. See ya.